Morning, Gogo Noma here. Welcome to Learning with Noma, your online comprehensive classroom where we're changing our lives one lesson at a time. And in today's lesson, I am answering a question, Gogo, why aren't there as many mediums as compared to Sangomas and Prophets? Well, a medium is someone who can connect to the dead. They can talk to the dead, so they are an agent between the physical and the spiritual world. They are able to deliver a message from the spirit to the living. So when we talk about prophets and sangomas, we're talking about mediums. Please, if you do like the content in the video, do not forget to hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the lesson, because in this classroom a lesson learned should be a lesson shared. So if you find the information insightful, do not hesitate to click the share button. Please subscribe to the channel. Let's help the classroom to grow. Okay, back to the question. Like I said, mediums are people who can connect to the dead, people who can communicate with the dead, people who can communicate with spirit and bring messages to the living from the spirit world, bring answers to the living from the spirit world. I'll say I'm going to try to break it down into how we use the words and how we then identify with them in our brains, or when we talk about the word medium, what immediately comes as compared to when we talk Sangoma and Prophet. But basically, Sangomas and Prophets, they are also mediums because they are agents that connect to the spirit world. They are agents that bring messages from the spirit world to the living. When we talk about mediums, and I'm going to try to say psychics and mediums, when we say someone is psychic, they don't necessarily need to be in the same room as you, or they don't need any physical contact with anything for them to get the sixth sense. When you wake up and like, oh, today's gonna, hey, I just feel like something bad is going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what you're going to hear. The person might be 10,000 miles from you who's going to have the accident, but they are in some way connected to you. It can be a relative, it can be an aunt. So you are thought to be psychic. Your psychic senses. We've got 8 psychic senses. The video will be coming soon. The lesson will be loaded very soon, before the end of next week. We've got 8 psychic senses, and when you are told to be psychic, it means you've got a heightened sense of something in the psyche. You can be clairvoyant, clairaudience. We've got all those. So that is when we then talk about mediums. Mediums, like I say, you are an agent. You are between two positions, the physical and the spirit world. Most of the time with mediums, you need to be physically there for them to do a reading for you, or you need to be there should be some sort of connection for them to do a reading with you. It's either you are on the other side telephonically, or you are sitting with them. And if you need them to connect to someone spiritually, your father, your mother, your brother, they will ask you to bring something that belonged to that person. So that is your mediums. And I'm just also now breaking it down in terms of how do we identify with these terms in everyday language. When we talk about mediums, there's no bones, they don't use waters or whatever, but they just come and they connect to spirit, and they start directing you to say, okay, you can get some water, you can get a candle. They are directed by spirit, or they work according to what spirit is requesting of them. And then the reason why we might be seeing a decline in mediums, or people who are just classified as mediums, I'll say it's because of the spiritual awakening that is taking place, not just in Africa, or not just in the southern hemisphere of Africa, but all over the world, all over the globe. People are now becoming spiritually awake. People are understanding spirit more, and instead of, because when you're a medium, let me put it like this: when you're a medium, you are spiritually gifted. You are an agent. You are spiritually gifted, and you've been called to be the one who is an agent between the spirit and the physical realm. So all of us, Sangomas, Prophet, it's just that I'll say we are all under the spiritual school, but there's faculties. You've got your general practitioners, you've got your nephrologists, your cardiologists. So you've got different categories of doctors, but at the end of the day, they're all doctors. So we're all mediums, but we all have different faculties that we fall under. And if I'm gifted in, or the person that I walk with, the spirit that is helping me to connect, the guide that is helping me to connect to the spirit world is more rooted in the principles of Istunya, being a prophet, then I will use the prophetic ways. I'll use the Bible, I'll use the water, I'll use there's just a lot, matchsticks. There's a lot also with Istunya, and this one will be broken down when we talk about Istunya. But I'm just saying that when we talk about mediums, there are people who can connect to the spirit world to bring messages to the living. There are people who can talk to the dead. Sangomas and Prophets, that's exactly how they do it. The only thing is, in modern day or in the everyday language that we use, then the term sort of like becomes isolated to say, when we talk about mediums, you sit there, they start connecting with your spirit and they start reading you. They have not undergone any sort of traditional training or traditional initiation processes where they can be classified as Sangoma, or they have not gone under training where they can be classified as prophets, but they've got the gift and they're able to use their gift and connect with spirit and give us the messages from the dead. And you just go there, then you're gonna find either they've got crystals, or some of them they don't even have anything really. You just sit and you connect. They only want what belongs to that to the individual that you're coming with. But most of the time, when it comes to people who are just working with the gift as they are, and please do understand this, I'm talking from my own experience, because before I understood the gift that I was carrying or the type of spirits that I walked with in terms of and then I had to now come and initiate ubungoma and more initiate umunzawo, because in Zawo spirit we talk about ukfemba, and ukfemba, it's you being connected to the spirit and being that person. That is what was happening with me. I was just not, in most of the consultations, I was not just consulting, connecting to the spirit and talking about what spirit is saying, but my voice would change, my character would change, even the language that I was speaking would change. And I thought, it's just the gift. I'm a medium. I'm able to connect at a higher level with spirit. Yes, as a prophet, I was able to connect at that level of spirit is saying, but now my gift is growing. Only later did I understand that it's the Ndawo spirit, and it's now, showing me Uguti what is another way of becoming a medium, or what is another means that spirit uses to connect to the physical world. And that's when you talk about Ukfemba. But everything will be unpacked in the relevant lessons. What I wanted to just clarify, or what I wanted to answer, was to say, why are there not so many mediums anymore? It's because people are now answering the calling. You are gifted, you can connect to the dead, that is a gift. But now the minute you are consulting, you're connecting with other people, you need to be trained, you need to go to undergo some sort of initiation. Because the problem is, when you only use the gift out of, I am able to connect to the dead, I'm able to communicate, you end up not being able to have control over your life or over your gift. You don't know how to communicate with the spirit. Hence, you will find that people who are put under the umbrella of the medium as we know it, whether you are at a mall, whether you are at a shop, whether you are at a wedding, they pick up the spirits and they're overtaken by the spirit. They want to tell you right there and there what is happening, or the spirit wants to talk right there and there. But when you undergo the process of uktwasa, the initiation school to become a Sangoma, when you undergo the training of ukuba umuprofita or huba muprofita, how to spagamisis tunya, there are principles that you learn, there are ways that you are taught on how to communicate with the spirit guide that is working with you, the spirit guide that you are carrying, the spirit guide that is making you connect, for you to be able to say, okay, now I'm in a public space. I'm not, when we communicate with spirit, it must not be an invasion to the other person. And for me, I think that's why I digged deeper to find out. But I understand I've got the gift, and I love that I've got the gift. It's exciting that I can talk to the spirit world. It's exciting that I can bring messages to those who are still in the physical realm. But I need to understand, how can I control it? Because I also want to socialize. I'm Noma. I also want to have a social life. I don't want people to be turning their heads or people to be running away from me every time I come around. People are just hiding because they know I'm going to tell them, there's a message that she wants to deliver, and then there's a message, oh hey, yesterday what did you do? Spirit doesn't like that. So I didn't like that. I was tired of always being, a loner, or always having to be quiet when I'm around people, because I'm just afraid that if I speak, I'm gonna say something, or if I am around people, I'm gonna come back home and I'll have all these mixed emotions and I won't understand what is happening. And that is when I say, okay, spiritual awakening happens. I know I've got a spiritual gift, but then the awakening means that you understand you've got the calling, and you go there and you train, you are guided, you are told how you then talk to your spirit, how you then live with your spirit, and how do you then work with spirit, or how do you direct your spirit to sort of like also understand how to behave, and how to, I'll say, connect, when to connect, how to connect, for it to understand when you say Togoza Gogo Noma, Togoza Mr. Spirit Man, Togoza Mr. Spirit, I am going out, I'm just gonna have fun. Can we please not interrupt other people's energies? Can we not invade? Of course, spirit will always take over when there's an urgency, when there's a need, when there is an urgent message to be delivered, but it does not happen as frequently. So you are able to control the connections, you are able to control how you respond to the sensitivity, I'll say, of the energy around you, and what spirit to allow in and what spirit not to allow in, because some spirits are just bubbly. I mean, you can imagine someone who was bubbly, who was always laughing, who was always talkative. When they find someone who they can channel through, obviously they're still that bubbly spirit, they'll still want to come through. So you need the training, you need the guidance to help you understand the gift, so that you can practice under, I'll say, safe spaces, and also practice under understanding of, I'm not invading people's spaces, I'm not invading people's privacies, I'm not putting spirit out there wherever I go. I think in short, that's what I can say about mediums, and why we have a small amount, or why we see most people now becoming prophets and sangomas, is because we understand being a medium is a gift. The gift being that you are able to connect with the dead, you are able to communicate with the dead, but you need to understand what kind of spirit you work with, and then that is when we talk about being a prophet, being a sangoma. You now fall under a certain faculty of mediumship, if I can put it like that. If you found the lesson insightful, do not forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the lesson. A lesson learned is a lesson shared.